All right, this video is going to be a little bit different than what I normally do on my channel. Usually I make a bunch of tech videos and just like tutorial videos about how to program and coding and just becoming a software engineer. This video is going to be more for other content creators who want to get into this space and just kind of give them some tips and tricks if you're starting off. I have over 758 videos. A lot of these videos are bad. If you go back to like the very start of my channel, it's just bad quality stuff. And honestly, I wish I just had like a bullet point list of things I could do to have like just done from the get-go to maybe catapult my progression a little bit better. Okay. But so anyway, I'm going to give you some tips and tricks. If you want to start making a YouTube channel or creating educational content, again, this could be applied to not only software engineer tutorial videos, but just YouTube videos in general where you need to like record your screen and maybe talk about something and teach people. I think I might have some good tips and tricks for you. Okay, so the first thing I would highly recommend doing if you're trying to get into content creation is you need to invest in a decent setup with your audio. Okay, and that includes a decent microphone and a good sound treatment for your room. Let's talk about the microphone. The first thing you need to do is get a decent sounding microphone. Now you don't have to go off and drop $700 on like a podcast quality microphone. This is the mic I use. It's 99 bucks. I bought it on Amazon. It has lasted me a while. You may or may not like the sound of it, but I like using large diaphragm microphones because I think it just makes the voice sound better. A lot of people like using the Shure SMSB. This is like a standard that a lot of people recommend. I just feel like dynamic mics just sound very muddy. They sound like muffled, but that's just me. But if you use something like this, it obviously costs a lot more money, and then you typically have to have an interface, which costs like 150 bucks. And then sometimes you also have like another thing, this little blue box, I believe, to basically boost the gain of your microphone. So keep that in mind. I use a cheap microphone. It works fine. I got an interface that's also like 100 bucks, and I got a stand that holds the mic and connects it to my box. Okay. And again, I would say play around with it. Get closer and turn your gain down so you can get like that proximity effect. And then also play with EQ if you want to. Like in OBS, I believe I have some filters set up to just kind of tone down the bass so it's not as like bassy. But the reason I'm recommending that first is like really focus on a good sounding tutorial video. There's so many times where I watch a video, if it sounds like you're recording this from like your computer laptop, and I can hear like buses in the background, and I can hear your ceiling fan, your AC unit, I click away from your video within like 5 seconds. People are being conditioned to hear nice sounding audio, and if you don't have that nice sounding audio, people are going to click away from your video. So before we even start making content, I would highly recommend just invest a little bit in a good sounding mic. Which leads me to my next point, which is also super important, and that is sound treating your room. Now, I have these little foam panels I bought on Amazon. I have like, I don't know, 30 of them posted on the wall that's in front of me. So as I'm speaking, all of these are hopefully kind of dampening the high frequency sounds. I'm also going to show you over here, I have a comforter that's just hanging up. So as you saw, the comforter basically also just helps like reduce any echo that's in the room. If you're recording your video and you can snap your fingers and you hear a distinct echo in that snap, that means you need to treat your audio a little bit better. No one wants to sound like they're recording in an empty room. Although I have listened to some tutorial makers who have tons and tons of views and their audio could probably use a little bit of sound treatment in their room. Just keep that in mind. People want to hear good audio, and if they have to sit there and listen to you talk for 10, 20 minutes, you want to make sure that your sound is good. So those are the first two important things I would focus on if you want to really elevate your tutorial making game. Now that we got audio out of the way, let's talk about video. Okay, it's super important, at least I think it's super important as a content creator, to have your face associated with your content. People come to your channel to hear your voice and hear your opinions and see you speak and teach. Although having your face on camera isn't super 100% necessary, I've seen people like Fireship with millions of subscribers. You have Brad Traversy with a ton of subscribers as well. I believe he's at 1 million. They don't show their face at all, right? They just teach, they have a mic, and that's it. If that's something that you think that you can do, then again, like you can just focus more on the audio and focus more on the content in the teaching. But I do think having your face on camera does improve your views. Just to kind of show you, let's scroll back to when I like didn't really use my face on camera that much. Like there's a time period where I stopped putting my face on camera. You can see here, my views are like 850, 450, 500. They're pretty low. Some of them are a little bit higher, but as you can tell, like after a year of views, it's not that much. And then if you keep scrolling up, at some point I decided I'm going to put my face on every single video, and you see my views are actually starting to bump up a little bit. Now, I will say that like this isn't the make or break it. I think just having your video and having your face on your thumbnail and in your content is just something that really helps distinguish you over all of the other content creators, right? When someone sees my thumbnail and they see my face, they know they're about to click into one of my videos, okay? So again, at least get your face on camera at some point because people want to see and learn from real people. And I will say, I just use my iPhone to record my video. I don't have like a super expensive camera. I just use my iPhone. I have it connected with a USB plug. And I think I bought like a $9 app so I can interface that with OBS. Okay, you don't need like a super expensive setup to become successful on YouTube. You just need to be able to have your face on camera. Now, I will also say that at some point I tried to improve like the backdrop, and I got serious about always having this little blue light in the background with like the Edison light bulb behind my head, as you can probably tell. And when I also started doing that, I think it just kind of added a little bit of polish to my channel. So I would say if you can do that, just have like some type of nice looking lights that kind of distinguish the background and the foreground, which is you in the video. I think that'll just kind of add to your channel. You can see here I basically have like the same thing in every video. Sometimes I decide not to turn my lights on, but all the other ones you can see it's just like the same. And then at some point I decided to switch over to a more vertical type of cropping, which I think just gives more real estate for people to see the code as you're talking. But yeah, iPhone 11, you can kind of go quite a long way with just using an iPhone. All right, so we talked about the audio, we talked about the video, but let's talk about the actual content. How do you get good at making content, and how do you plan what you're going to talk about? So I try to go for a specific vibe, and my vibe is like you're basically sitting next to me and I'm teaching you how to code, okay? A lot of other subscribers that I've seen in my same niche is they are either reading off a teleprompter, which no, I'm not trying to bash that. I just think from my perspective, when I'm trying to learn how to code and I'm trying to learn something new, I'm going to watch someone just kind of like casually teach me. I don't want them to have a script. I don't want them to like plan everything out they're going to say. I want it to be organic. So that's the vibe that I go for. And I would highly recommend if you're going to start a channel, find a vibe that works for you. Whatever helps you produce more videos, find that vibe and just roll with it, okay? I found a vibe that works for me, and that's basically just talking about content. And I will say the reason I'm able to publish basically a video every day is that I do work full time as a web developer. So after I work 8 hours, 5 times a week, it's pretty easy to find at least one thing to make a 5 or 10 minute video to talk about, right? Now, a lot of people, they feel like they have to sit here and plan for hours and like have this outline and all this other stuff to make content. I personally don't like doing that. I don't have the time to plan out everything I'm going to say. Be okay with making mistakes live on camera. Get good at editing. Okay, that's another point I'm going to talk about in a second. So when it comes to the content though, if you're making educational content, you have to get good at getting into the mindset of who is listening to you speak. Figure out your audience. Are you teaching to beginners, absolute beginners? Are you teaching to intermediate? Are you teaching to sometimes more advanced people? With my content, I'm more in the intermediate/advanced range. And then I also try to like sprinkle in a couple of beginner things inside of my content, just so I kind of hit that wide spectrum. So depending on the video I'm making, I might be talking about concepts that are brand new to people. So before I start speaking, I try to think, okay, if I'm speaking to my friend who's never learned anything about CI/CD pipelines, and I start saying all these acronyms, he's going to be completely lost. Maybe he doesn't know what a GitHub Action is. He doesn't know what Jenkins is. He doesn't know what Circle CI is. He doesn't know what a release tag is on GitHub. These are things that before you start speaking about them, you have to stop yourself and say, would my audience know what I'm going to start talking about? Should I explain it before I start diving into that detail? So that's kind of my advice for like, if you're going to make educational content, make sure you really understand like who you're trying to teach to, because I think explaining the whys behind stuff, a lot of the coding tutorials I've watched is basically people just typing you and showing you how to do something. And I do not find that very useful. I want to know the how and the why. Why are we typing this syntax? Why are we doing a for loop here instead of a while loop? Why are we calling a function here instead of this other function? Okay, the why is probably the most important part. And if you can kind of get into the habit of explaining, we're doing this because, I'm explaining this because, then I think the the viewer can come away with a lot more knowledge than if you just show them, this is how we're going to do a drop down. First, we're going to make a div, and then we're going to make like a click listener. You got to kind of like give reasons as to why did you choose a div? Why are you choosing this type of event listener? Again, kind of going back to the vibe, my content can sometimes feel very disorganized, and I've got a lot of comments saying that like, hey, if you just spent more time like planning your stuff out, it would be easier to follow. And I do agree with that to an extent, but I also try to fight that feedback because I have a specific vibe that I want this channel to go for. And another technique that I would recommend doing is once you have like the polish already good to go, like you got the camera, the lighting, the audio, and the only way to get good at explaining stuff is to publish more videos. You have to practice speaking. You have to make videos. After 758 videos, I feel like I've gotten a little bit better at explaining topics and teaching about coding. So without the actual quantity, it's going to be very hard to get into that mindset of like casually speaking. When you first turn on the camera, you start speaking, you're going to be kind of timid. You're going to be kind of scared, maybe, unless you're like a really outgoing person. But a lot of us in this industry, at least the tech industry, maybe we're more introverted and we don't like speaking on camera. But the only way to kind of get over that shyness of being on camera is to publish more videos. So that's what I recommend doing. If you just want to practice them and not like list them, you can do that too. Just record the video, get it on your channel, and just don't list them. But just the art of practicing the recording is super important. And in this day and age, quantity is actually quite important, in my opinion. There are some people who put in a lot of effort into their YouTube videos. For example, Adrian Torarg, I don't know how to pronounce his name. This guy, if you watch his videos, this guy is super good at making entertaining videos, and he does like all of this nice editing with like B-rolls and animations, like the camera zooming on the hands. Like just watch some of his videos and you'll see what I mean. But the amount of effort that he puts into his videos is probably a lot more than the effort I put into my channel. Okay, so it's kind of like a trade-off. How long does it take him to publish one video once a month? You notice here he has one video 2 months ago, one video 3 months ago, one video 4 months ago. So he's able to get like 1 or 2 videos out every month versus me. My approach is I'm trying to get a video out every day. And the reason I'm doing this is because there's so much content to teach in web development that I feel like if I limited myself and really polished up a video and did it once a week, like no one's going to learn anything. There's just too much that we can teach in this industry, and making a video every day is something that is achievable. I have done it on this channel. I work full time. Remember, 5 days a week, 40 hours a week. I have a family. I have a wife and 2 kids, and I'm still able to at least find 30 minutes every night to record something. Just talk about something, get it out there, edit it, and publish it. And I'm not saying this to like brag. I'm saying this to actually like let you realize that doing this stuff doesn't have to take up a ton of your time. If you just get into a flow where you can publish a video every day just teaching one topic that you've learned, then you can start getting into the habit of producing content daily. YouTube Shorts, again, super important. I started blowing up when I started doing my YouTube Shorts. So I would recommend, if you're getting into content creation these days, YouTube Shorts are going to be an invaluable way to kind of grow your channel. Some of these were getting over like, I think 100,000 views. They got 193,000 views, and I got a ton of subscribers from my shorts alone. And again, YouTube Shorts can really train your mind for how do you teach somebody something in 60 seconds, right? If you can get really good at teaching a concept in 60 seconds, it's going to translate very well to these longer videos, because people want to learn as much as they can, invest as little time as they can possible, right? So the more you can teach in the less amount of time, that's basically the golden ticket to having people watch your content. That's why Fireship does so well, because he has these 5-minute videos, or like learn something in 90 seconds, where he basically blasts you with all this information, and you can get a crash overview of anything in like 90 seconds from Fireship, or 120 seconds. I don't remember what his theme is. So I would say, again, make sure you utilize shorts, especially with the rise of TikTok and all these other like low attention span social medias. Shorts are going to be super important to help funnel traffic into your channel. And then the videos is what the more serious people would probably watch when they want more content. Doing lives, I would not recommend. I do not see many views with lives. I think they're just fun to throw in there once in a while so people can come and ask you questions. But overall, most of the traffic I've seen from my channel have been from views and shorts. So definitely keep that in mind. Okay, so the last part is editing. When you start getting really good at editing, it really helps you understand how you can just like record with one take. And if you mess up, you literally just stop for a second, recalibrate your mind, and you just continue off at a certain point to just redo that part, right? So for example, if there's a sentence that I want to kind of redo, I'll just stop. I'll go back a line or two. Again, this is all off my top of my head. I don't have like script, but I basically just restart, and then in editing, I can just go and find the parts that are bad and just delete them. Okay, so get really good at editing, because the better you get at editing, the faster you can actually get with that goal of producing content as much as possible. If you're not able to edit fast, it's going to be very hard for you to publish videos daily. And also, if you have watched videos where they don't do any type of editing, people are going to lose their focus, right? It's going to get boring. They're going to hear people like stumble upon their words, and they're not going to get to the point fast enough, right? So editing helps polish up your videos to that next level where you can cut out the stuff that people don't want to hear about, and you can also kind of like restructure your video if needed. So I thought editing was going to be the last point that I was going to talk about, and I just remembered another really important topic, and that is your channel's niche, right? Every YouTube channel should have some type of niche, and additionally, you should have some type of general topic. So if you were to look at my channel, I'm educational content, and that kind of niches down to web development, which again is a broad stroke topic in software engineering. But then my niche is more like React, Next.js. I do throw in some DevOps stuff. I throw in some full stack development. My channel is kind of all over the place, and I do think that that is one reason people watch my content, is because they never know what they're going to get when they watch one of my videos. One day I'll talk about SaaS products. One day I'll talk about Next.js. One day I'll complain about React. The next day I'll show you what a blue-green deployment is. So when it comes to niching down, I don't really do it as good as other channels. Like some channels are just like, we only do CSS, right? Some channels only talk about like beginner React development. My channel is more intermediate, jumping all around, and I do think people like that type of content because it has helped me grow to what I have, 140,000 subscribers as today. Sorry, I just thought about another topic I want to talk about. So when you're making content, make sure you are kind of watching what a bunch of other content creators are doing, right? This guy, Josh Tried Coding, go check him out. He was at like, I don't know, maybe like a couple thousand subscribers months ago. His channel just started blowing up, and it's because his content he makes is really good. So I would recommend, if you're trying to learn how to make good content, go check out other successful YouTubers and try to figure out what are they doing that makes their content entertaining, that makes it educational. Another YouTuber who's really exploded is Theo. I think a year ago, he wasn't even at like, I don't know, 10,000 subscribers. He does a bunch of Twitch streaming as well, and he's found a way to basically publish videos almost daily. He basically takes his Twitch streams, he chops them up, and he asks an editor to basically make YouTube videos for him. And at some point, he was publishing videos literally every day. So again, my point is, watch other YouTubers and try to, I don't want to say copy them, but take notes. What's working for them? Is this a vibe that you want to go for your channel? Because if these other content creators are able to blow up super fast, they must be doing something right. So I'd recommend finding those content creators and just take notes from them, right? I think that's all I really want to talk about. So if you enjoyed watching this content, be sure to give me a comment and say, hey, this is really helpful. Or, you know, if there's something I missed, I know I talked on a bunch of different topics, but if there's something I missed, leave a comment, let me know. Other than that, be sure to press the like button, press the bell icon if you want to learn more about programming, because that's what my channel is all about. This was a one-off video, so don't expect this in the future or anything like this. And like always, I have a Discord channel that you're welcome to join if you want to learn more about programming and find a place to basically ask other people questions. The link should be in the description below. Other than that, have a good day and happy coding.